Hey guys, welcome to the Silver Report. Here we are, Saturday, February 18th, 2017. We have gold currently trading at $1,236.30, silver $18.08. And let's get into some of the economic factors that will be playing a part. So we have some big news. In Arizona, there's an Arizona bill that would eliminate state capital gains taxes on gold and silver especially, and encourage its use as currency. And the big news, it passed the House. Final approval of the legislation would help undermine the monopoly right now that the Federal Reserve have on money. In fact, taxing silver and gold income, taxing what they derive as profits, is really a way to strong arm the people away from their money as set forth in the Constitution. Representative Mark Fincham from Tucson, he's a Republican. He introduced House Bill 2014 on January 9th. We covered it already on the show. And so the great news that it passed now the House. It goes on to final approval. And it defines legal tender as a medium of exchange. And it was interesting, this debate they got into. Now, arguing the federal policies that made paper money virtually worthless was his quote. So they were moving to allow residents to invest in gold coins and not have to pay state taxes on any profits that they make when they sell them. And the reason that this is so important is because this is how you bring down this system from the bottom up. This is how you bring in gold and silver as a competing and alternate currency compared to the Federal Reserve notes. So this getting past the House is amazing news, and this is something we need in all states. So the legislation, number one, like their argument was, if you buy art, jewelry, an antique car for $10,000 and you sell it for $12,000, you owe the state tax on that $2,000 profit. But the argument was that that's not true if you're buying U.S. gold coins. It's simply exchanging one form of U.S. currency for another. And this is how bad we have become in this country, because we don't even recognize money. Most of the people, we've become so conditioned. And from the time you were born, you've been using Federal Reserve notes. No one even questions what is money and why they would even consider it money anymore. It is just a slow fade. And for example, if you were to exchange 4 quarters for a dollar bill, this is his quote, that's not a taxable event. And so there was some opposition to the bill. Ken Clark, a Democrat from Phoenix, he said people buy gold coins in hopes of making a profit. Further, gold coins are not sold on face value, but on the amount of gold in them and how much gold happens to be selling for in dollars. And this is not true. During the financial crisis, after the financial crisis, we saw a major rally on gold and silver. Every financial crisis, we see a major rally on gold and silver. That's just because of the weakness of the Federal Reserve notes at this particular point. It's not real money. And so this opposition, it's clear they have no understanding of what money is. He's thinking it's to create a profit. But the U.S. Mint is marketing right now a mercury dime, a gold version of a 10-piece cent, complete with the words "one dime" on the back. But it actually takes 2,050 actual dimes to buy the 1/10 of an ounce coin. There's the $50 American Eagle coin. The Mint was selling that Friday. It's $1,560 in uncirculated condition. You can get it cheaper from dealers, but now the theory is what they're calling his approach to economics and currency, and it's not a theory. In fact, the Federal Reserve is a scam, not even a theory. It's fiat currency with no actual value. And so thinking that somehow people are buying gold and silver to make money, the people who are buying gold and silver right now, they're not selling it. They're not selling it. And in essence, buying precious metals is kind of like being in a casino. You're never going to sell it because it's when it begins to get higher and higher and higher, you think it will always get higher. This next rally, when this system comes collapsing, you will not sell your precious metals. You will not sell your precious metals for fiat dollars. And that's exactly the condition that the Federal Reserve has us in. They've bullied us out of money. They've bullied us from being able to use gold and silver as money. And so these bills we carry in our wallets, number one, if you buy gold coins, I'll give you his quote. Let's say it takes 1,200 of these bills in your wallets. Let's say it takes 1,200 of them to buy a U.S. Mint gold coin today. And tomorrow it takes 1,300 of the Federal Reserve notes. And so they're saying that this is somehow to make a profit. And you sell the coin for $100 more, that's not a profit. You've actually experienced a loss. Because the devaluing of the currency, that's why you see currency moves are so intertwined with the value of gold and silver. They're not always simpatico, but when you see the dollar drop, you see gold and silver rise. That's because they are competing currencies. And right now, the Federal Reserve, which is not federal, but it is a private institution, uses strong-arm tactics when the Constitution specifically lays out that you shall not use anything but gold and silver coin. No state shall use anything but gold and silver coin for the payment of debts. And so we've grown in this country through this slow manipulation of the mind to tell us that the Federal Reserve notes actually have value. And what we've experienced is that people look at gold and silver. You saw Mark Dice's interview when he was trying to sell 1 ounce silver bars, 10 ounce silver bars. People were taking a candy bar instead. People's idea of what gold and silver is gone. They have no idea its value. They don't realize that it's money, and it has been used as money around the world throughout history. It's not something new. In fact, the Federal Reserve notes is something new. The fiat system, not new. It just is not something that is the most positive because it's an economic system destined to fail. And when the dollar goes down, gold and silver will rise. They're still tied to each other in a way because they're competing. When one fails, the other does better. That's why the Federal Reserve needs a stranglehold. That's why they need this manipulation. That's why they created the COMEX and the paper market and the futures market, was because of the threat that gold and silver poses to the fiat dollar. And I love some of these comments he made. It's not a gain, it's a loss. Number one, it's called inflation. And the Internal Revenue Service for many, many years have been taxing inflation as though it was a gain. He went on to say, I would hope one day the U.S. Mint would wake up and see that they've essentially turned our paper money into something that's virtually worthless. In fact, since 1910 up to today, a dollar bill went from $1 in value to less than 3 cents. End quote. Yet we still exchange it, we still use it, we still pretend it actually has some value. This is a movement that we need to support and get behind. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me here on the Silver Report. If you like the content, be sure to subscribe, like the videos, share the videos. We have to wake the masses up. I thank you guys all so much for stopping by, and as always, stay safe.